how did this game defy the odds and become so big? The Forge. It has become one of the largest games on Roblox in a matter of months, coming out of nowhere and now surpassing Grow a Garden. You know, the one game that had become a titan in the gaming space for breaking world records was below this simple mining game. Well, not really. And I know Roblox has incredibly inflated numbers because, well, nearly all the games on the platform is free, yet seeing such a large number is still mind-boggling to look at. And to understand it first, well, we'll have to see what makes the Forge so great of a game. And well, it's just a mining game. But of course, it isn't just that. Because you see, the Forge has, well, some unique things that make it one of the best games on Roblox ever made. And we can see one of the first criteria when we immediately join the game. And that is, holy hell, the quality here is insane. First of all, look at this UI. It's so sleek, classy, and yet modern. The only other games that have this type of quality is like Fish, and that also became one of the largest games on Roblox before it fell off. But just take a look at this ocean, the light and the shadows and all, and that's one of the special parts of the Forge that make it stand out from the rest of the games. Shadows. They are the lifeblood of what turns anything into crazy pieces. It's the same thing here in Forge. Shadows and lighting create the wonderful atmosphere, but also lots of lag. And I mean, lots of it. Like, imagine playing the Forge or some other hyper-realistic game on a potato. It'd probably cook it, I imagine. Still, I have to at least complete this wonderful tutorial they made so you can have a better understanding of the mechanics, alright? It starts off simple. Talk to our sensei and... wow, that's serious. The shifting of the camera ink. They really thought of every way to make this as high quality as possible and as close as to be in the face of the sensei without getting, well, you know, on with that. The tutorial shows the direction, steps, and highlights of what you're meant to do, albeit in a basic way, but it's fine. The tutorial shows us what causes the Forge to be so great. The gameplay. Well, let's see. We are given a small pouch, an old pickaxe, and well, Mr. Sensei here does something magical to us. And that's gambling. Let's go!
I can't stop winning.
This is one of the other main reasons that make the game amazing. Because we love the instant hit of dopamine when you get the rarest bloodline in the game. I get zombie after a few rerolls, but of course you can just use codes to get more of them. Now of course the zombie, I don't know if it's good or not, since a quarter of our HP is slashed, but we're given regeneration. Now, to get the good ones, we'll have to pay Robux after hundreds of spins, which I don't have. So please subscribe so I can afford them. After all, these videos take a very long time to make, and if you do enjoy, it helps the channel grow. Well, after that trip went well, we have to head to the mines to gather some ores. Roblox loves replicating real life, since I think most people play this game as, well, children, and that's most of the audience on Roblox. This section of the Forge is very clear cut. Like with any of the hundreds of piles of simulator games that have emerged out of nothing and become a staple of Roblox, the Forge means of fun is simple. You mine rocks with your pickaxe. Raise your blocky arm over and swing, and you do that and you swing over and over and over again and again. Once your pickaxe has done enough damage, look, a little ore has come out, and more gambling. Like Source RNG, but instead, you actually have to do something for the rarest items to drop, which is just pressing a button, but that's something. Now the ores we get from these small pebbles is just, well, stone ore, which I'm pretty sure is a mineral, but if this thing is considered ore, and cardboard also, so who am I to judge? Because I'm pretty sure cardboard's kinda man-made. At this point, I don't even know, it's none of my business, as after mining 6 pebbles, we can continue into the crux of the game itself, well, the Forge. Because you see, the core function of the game is, well, the Forge itself, which, for those who are not in the know, is a place where you turn your ores into cool swords. Although the process of metallurgy is quite important and very complex in real life, with lots of maths and science. However, in this game, it's a simple mechanism. Chuck ores into a smoldering furnace, and heat that baby up. Okay, that sounds terrible. Throw that molten mess onto the floor for some apparent reason, but making sure that the flow of that is laminar and destroy. that texture brick and comes out a nice looking dagger that we have to play a game of whack-and more with the timings and bing bang bop. We dunk it into a bucket of water and we get ourselves a nice little gladius. It does around 2 damage. That's amazing. But you see, my skills aren't the best. Luckily, we can go again once more, but without the guide of our teacher. And this is where we can get deeper into the framework behind this game, which truly differs it from the rest. Let's look at this still image for example. We firstly can have our look to the right. We see our different ores, of course have different properties from each other. As such, the rare ores would 9 times out of 10 be better than the easily available ones. But some, like this poop, is good with armor. And silver is well, probably good against vampires if they ever become an enemy into this game. We can select 4 types of ores to be put into our forge. The specific ore you add, which for the record can be as much as you own for this type, it may decrease or increase the multiplier that is below. That number determines the possible damage of the weapon may do. Now let's add a bunch of ores. If we look to the left, you see that the more ores we add, we are possibly getting a new type of weapon, excluding our basic dagger, such as a katana or freaking Guts' sword. And I'll get to that later, as for now, we have nothing. So we make another basic dagger using the previous guide, and it's just a stone dagger. So let's step away from the blistering heat for now. The next step of the tutorial, well, is sell the dagger we made. What? You've got to be kidding me. I just spent my hard-earned time making it. Oh well. It allows us to further explore this map, where we come across the stall that has so many little details and textures, make serious eye contact with the shopkeeper, and sell our weapons. This is the main method that we'll use to make money. That money can be spent on purchasing potions to boost luck, heal us, or increase our strength, or along with better pickaxes that allow us to extract even cooler rocks from bigger boulders. That leads into cooler ores being found and better and more flashier weapons. Well, with that small paycheck, we're able to purchase a new pickaxe, and we'll go back into the mines. I'll have to become the boss by firing my fellow zombie miners. Although I'm a zombie, my say simple. Your weapons have basic attacks. You can block and also dash backwards. Of course, different weapons have different attack animations with different speeds and range. Now then, we can make some armor. It's exactly the same as making weapons, but you're incentivized to add more ore since you will be guaranteed to make small helmets only if you do. Which, I mean, hats are cool and all, but it doesn't protect your organs. And that's the entire loop of the game, and it's addicting. I spent an hour grinding away without noticing, and it's kinda partly due to the gambling with the little dopamine boost when I finally get a rare ore like Bananium and Poop. Yeah, it's actually quite rare. And that's what makes the game awesome, since it has RNG. But then, to claim the fruits of your luck, skill is then required to make your gear as fine as possible, but also your knowledge on the correct combination of ores and the correct percentages to efficiently maximize what you're going for to make it one of the flashiest things. Speaking of making things flashy, we're finally able to refine our equipment in these other stalls and apply special runes to them, which can increase the yield or even increase the damage of our pickaxes. And then we can also refine our equipment over here, where we can increase the basic stats of our stuff using essence that we get from killing the monster. And lastly, there's the wizard, who applied us our race. We can go back to him at any time if we want to change it, but he gives us a magical portal out of the blue, and it's so blue. Well, hey, we need to go to the Forgotten Kingdom, which we need some requirements to obtain before talking back to our sensei. The best way to gain levels is to do quests like helping slay zombies and mine some ores. But with any fun game, there is a little caveat. There's a little cat that is gone missing, which is actually a very long and treacherous questline that is so much later in the game. Oh god. Well, time for some going to the Forgotten Kingdom. And actually, in this time, I might tell you the story behind the Forge as a game. Because you see, it was actually the dream game behind a Roblox developer named Fire Attack, who wanted this game to be his vision for a perfect RPG on Roblox. And I mean, it sells on that aspect very well for a Roblox game. This differs from any other games like Fish, which was bought by Duvik Studios, is because when you play the Forge, you actually really do feel the effort and time put into this. Although there are some flaws, like the reroll system, they do hide their microtransactions instead of punching it everywhere in the face, like if you play Blade Ball or something. As for now, it is run by a small development instead of a large conglomerate company that monetizes every step of the game, ruining it into a capitalistic slot. I'm looking at you, two big studios. In fact, you could say that this whole game is heavily inspired by Fish, with the games looking very similar to each other, except in, well, even some aspect in the games, like getting the fish and not to mention pouring correctly. They look incredibly similar to each other, it's just that one bar is vertical and one bar is horizontal. And would you look at that? I'm now in the Forgotten Kingdom, and this is where the next part of the game really shines. It's the quests. Although I partially mentioned it with the cat, you can really see these quests in line, as you get to feel some of the story behind some characters, like our friend Isaac here, who tells the lore behind the Forgotten Kingdom, which may be hinting at a potential strong enemy, but all he wants is a health potion. This, although basic, highlights a key fact that not all quests will be related to, well, the core game mechanics. Like that matters too, because these quests are a very helpful way of gaining money in this part of the game. Although it can be rudimentary at some times, you can even initiate quests that are way out of your league, like this super long line of finding this man's missing cat, or like these super boring lists of fighting hordes of enemies, or mining tons and tons of frogs. Yuck. At least there are enemies to fight. And oh, this is something that needs to be talked about in greater detail, because holy hell is exhilarating. Being the culmination of all the gunning beforehand, you can finally show them off against the undead with the many cool weapons available. And you definitely need to use a desktop or laptop to play, because you really need shift lock or else you just straight up die. And to fight, well, the enemies, it works like this: swing, parry, dodge. Now I suck at the parry part, so I just try to keep my distance with these minor zombies. So I swap my weapon to a katana. I'd say it's the jack of all trades, because unlike colossal swords, these don't require your entire life savings to forge, and it has a decent range that you aren't hugging the enemies. So just play like Dark Souls or Elden Ring in fact. The mechanics are practically the same in truth, except the arenas are way tinier and covered with bunches of rocks. However, they do punish my strategy of running away, as once you get hit, sprinting would then cost stamina, which it usually doesn't. And to show how good the combat is, let's take a look at this guy for example, the zombie. There's 3 regular forms of this guy. Regular, which is just your run-of-the-mill zombie. A minor, who can dodge your attacks and attack you with a pickaxe. This voided up zombie, who can throw rocks at you and is hella tanky. And the elite zombies, which are zombies but with a giant sword. But with the new recent Christmas update, here comes this new guy, this golem. Now, I had to use some other people's footage because it's blocked behind a level 70 wall that I'm not taking the time to grind out. So, the golem is considered as the boss of the game for now. He has the most HP of anything and is built like one. And this guy is an absolute beast, even having the boss HP bar at the top. And goddamn does he look cool. Like, look at his attacks. He's practically better than most bosses in about 90% of RPGs, except maybe Pilgrim. And of course, the only way to beat him is, well, being good at the game to parry stuff. So I guess it's pay to win to get a PC, and with RAM being kinda expensive right now, or you can just absolutely destroy him so quickly, and you can do that by using builds. Yes. The last and final part is usually for the older audience. Yes, you probably, if you subscribe. Builds, in other words, is just trying to break the game by making the best possible deck with the best gear, best weapons, and best combinations of runes possible. It is the most complex level of any game, requiring all grinding in the mines, getting the best ores, calculating the best ratio of ores mixed together for the best armor, sweating to perfect the orge, and praying that you got the weapon that you wanted. Then you go gambling for the vase that has the specific perks needed to give that little cherry on the top in your masterpiece build. And then finally, refining your gear to absolute perfection by embossing it with the best emblems possible to maximize everything. And gosh, can it look absolutely awesome at times. Then you can finally see the absolute mayhem it can cause onto these poor CPUs. They weren't designed to be nuked against, yet you made one anyways. And that's the fun of it. To the point that you destroy so many things that developers have to eventually compile scale everything so that you don't get bored. And Actually, well, I have something secret up my sleeve because it's not over just yet. Just look at the length of the video. It's actually a secret sauce that you may or may not have realized, but it's definitely something that you feel. And that is pacing. I know, it's a simulator, but pacing still exists to make a game not feel boring by either you breaking it and becoming too overpowered early on, or it becomes so repetitive that progress just feels so slow that you just want to rip out the skin from your skull. Remember the multiplayer from earlier in the Forge? Well, that's actually a mechanism to prevent other game players from spamming out all of their ores into the fiery pit to dish out the heaviest hitting swords and the tankiest armor imaginable, as the multiplier will go below 1, and so your great axe can even be weaker than the gauntlets you made if you only put in low quality materials. In fact, game materials are locked behind the strength of your pickaxe, so it prevents you from trying to break down the strongest rocks with the weakest pickaxe, but also locks you from some areas without the help of others, like in Forgotten Kingdom, where behind this basalt vein is an area with even stronger rocks and even really strong enemies that almost kill me immediately. It's actually crazy how well the Forge does with progression, because although it actually does kind of feel slow since the next area is at level 70, you could definitely see your progress increase substantially in a single play session. Like for me, with only hours of playing, I was able to go from 11 damaging katana to a katana that does 23 damage per hit. Now that's progress. A good way to track your progress is also available by the Compendium, allowing you to collect rare types of weapons, armors, and ores in exchange for EXP to help you level up further to unlock more race slots and also new areas. And the last thing, I'm being for real now, is well, the world building. So many characters give you lore about the entire place, although they may not have any relevance now. There are so many small details, locked doors, so many intricate areas that are able to be explored when you are given enough time. And not to mention how well designed everything is. These small islands far away from the main gameplay and a little campfire in it. Isn't that just cute? And wow, look at the Enhancer store. So many cool stuff on the walls. And every game should have this much care put into it. These things, although you may not care about it when present, as the most popular games are actually very minimal, but goddamn, when you just stop and just take a look to just enjoy the amount of effort this game has, you can feel everything merged together into a wonderful creation. So, after everything I've just said, the biggest question remains, what does this mean for the rest of Roblox? Well, good things I believe, as we are moving out of a trend of heavily monetized, heavily transaction soulless slop plastered everywhere with cheap little brain rots of dopamine explosion into an area where quality really matters, where developers actually put effort, where true high quality games other than the Forge will be able to shine. I hope that with the success of this game, although just as beautifully handcrafted game would focus on their community, on the updates, to make the place a lively, more fun area. Although this may be harder for newcomers due to their lack of skill, it may bring back a sense of belonging that, well, Roblox really needs. And who knows, maybe in the next year or so, Roblox may be reaching another prime area. Hell yeah, that was so cool. Please subscribe because it takes so long, and watch my other videos because trust me, they are also this good.